great technology and that we can share this information and engage with each other. So at this time, we'll move into our PowerPoint presentation from Chantelle Schultz and the nation rebuilding. And I'll just hand it over to you, young lady. Thank you very much.
Gracias. So I can't actually see from where I am which of the leadership for TRT are online. Excuse me. I know that Vincent Esquiro, who is one of our Wolf Clan directors, is in the Atlan Hub. And I saw James Williams and Vernon Williams, who are our Wolf and Crow clan leaders, but not sure of who else may be on there. Sorry if I escaped you. Okay, so in terms of the PowerPoint presentation, what we are describing to you today is the most recent progress that we have made as a team, but this initiative was actually started a couple of years ago. A proposal was submitted for the federal initiative, and it just took us some time to gather what we needed in order to get moving. And a large part of that was gathering up all of the data and information from the past decades of work that was ongoing already from our elders and our communities before us. So what we are talking about today is just the most recent developments, and please understand that what we are giving to you is just the starting point. So it's the starting point for where we are resuming work and building off the work that was already done. We don't have a set agenda or a work plan created. All of that will be done in the next coming months based on the information provided from you, the citizens. The Dakhka Nation Rebuilding Project. There's a quote here from Elder Jackie Williams, the Yanyeti clan leader. We gain strength in holding hands together. I remember my grandpa teaching me Tlingit names for the stars. We need to share our culture so we can treat Mother Earth the right way, be strong with one another, and balance ourselves with her. We are going through a period of confusion. The people need to walk together to grow in strength and go forward together. The agenda is a bit of a map of the journey today. What we're focusing on and what we want to share with you are the themes of focus for the project, the purpose of the project, the journey to date. We'll talk a little bit about what has been learned to date through the research, the idea of moving forward to the 3=1 nation with emphasis on how the citizens can get involved, and with the energy of a canoe race as our motivation. Guk, go, a description of how we're going forward together. The themes of focus for the project: unity, working together, who we are, one language, one culture, one land. The time is now. We hear from our leaders and from people who've been involved in this for a long time that this work has been ongoing for many years and that now the time is here. Politically, economically, we have many advantages and opportunities, and now is the time to capitalize on that. The important theme of coming home and self-government. What does this look like? There's a quote at the bottom. As inland Tlingit people, we must have respect for others, the spirit world, and ourselves. We understand that it is our birthright, our responsibility to respectfully uphold and practice Hakustiye, following our ancient Tlingit law, which dictates how we live with everything. The purpose of the project, rebuilding the nation. On February 1st, 2021, the Executive Council of the Teslin Tlingit Council hosted a meeting with Carcross Tagish First Nation and Takarura Tlingit First Nation leaders. We came together to discuss and resolve how we will approach rebuilding our Dakhka Nation. The Executive Council from the 3 First Nations have been working to formally bring all 3 First Nations together as one nation, one voice, the Dakhka Inland Tlingit Nation. The quote at the bottom is from a letter of understanding signed by the chiefs of Dakha Tlingit member First Nations from 1997. And it says, "The Dakha Tlingit Nation is one people with one traditional territory. Our elders have always told us that we are one nation and have directed us to act as one nation." At that meeting of February 1st, we reaffirmed the importance of our Dakha mission statement, which is to reunite for all time the Dakha as one self-reliant and self-governing nation based on healthy citizens who believe and practice a strong cultural identity. This will ensure protection and the wellness of our future generations, the land, the water, and our environment. At that meeting, our leaders, the leaders of the respective nations, agreed to encourage our collective focus on these areas through a resolution, and those areas are wildlife, boundaries, economic development, language and culture, and legislation. What we hear from those areas, we know that wildlife is a very important piece, and it seems to be one of the priority topics that comes back from community input. Boundaries talk has been discussed a lot. Where are the boundaries for each of the nations? What does shared territory and overlap mean? How can we coordinate? What is our territory going to look like after? We hear that it's one territory, one nation. And we have heard in the morning session the impacts of the segregation that was imposed on us by the colonial governments. And that's what the purpose of this project is to address, is how we can focus on these areas, the wildlife, boundaries, economic development, the language and culture and legislation, how we can use all of that to create a blueprint for how we work together, so that all of us can benefit from the resources that are available in our territories. Currently, right now, we have many treaties, the treaty opportunities that are ongoing. We want to collect and collaborate in at least some form so that we can all benefit, so that Tlingit people are the ones also benefiting from the resources on the land and not just outsiders. We have a timeline and a deadline on creating a joint work plan, and that's the resolution and direction that came from our chiefs at the February 1st meeting. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that. This is the continuation of the work from the past number of decades, our journey together. The leadership recognized that it is key to hear from citizens about how we can work together as a nation. The importance of the three Tlingit nations to meaningfully engage with our citizens, to talk about how we can work together for the betterment of our respective nations, cannot be overstated. Citizen guidance is what is going to move this project forward as we rebuild the nation. And we do mean that we cannot move forward without the citizens. We're at the starting point of resuming the work that was already begun in previous decades. And without citizen guidance, we won't know how you want us to work and where you want us to go. The journey to date, what we have learned. There has been an incredible amount of work done to date over the last number of decades as our leaders and elders before us focused on Dakha nation rebuilding. We benefit from this work in that we are able to collect all that has been done, compile it, share and learn from it, and then build upon this amazing journey to date with you, the citizens. So all of that work, the words of our elders, the work that was done previously, and I'd like to also acknowledge that the Constitution, we had some documents and we were able to see that on the February 1st meeting. That Constitution was from 1986, which is the year I was born. And so it really is truly an honor to be able to help continue that work that was begun by our ancestors and carried forward from our elders decades ago, and that we're now resuming today. Moving forward, Dakha Nation rebuilding. With the project themes guiding our work, We will continue to review and capture the work done over the past decades to benefit from the work of our nation leaders and elders, both past and present. Share with the citizens what is learned. Listen and learn with the citizens through numerous points of engagement, in-person and virtual meetings, much like we're doing today, social media feedback, on-the-land events. There's been lots of great suggestions for those types of things that we might do, and other opportunities moving forward as guided by the citizenry. The important point of the engagement here is that we offer multiple ways for our citizens to provide us with feedback and to feel included in what we're doing here. It's really important that we offer those activities and events that speak to our citizens on a cultural, a spiritual level, and that we use those opportunities to reaffirm the glue that holds us together, binding us together as one nation, one voice, one culture, one language. We want to make sure that those on-the-land events are offered in a multitude of ways. And over the lunch break, we heard some really great ideas as well from the chiefs about maybe going to the river for a meeting. We want to make that happen. We also heard about the lands departments carrying on some kind of standardized. So what I mean by that is we host similar programs in parallel, programs and initiatives that could benefit some of the populations of our people that sometimes feel left out right now. Maybe because they don't have the same academics or the technological world is moving too quickly. There are ways to include and incorporate and honor every citizen for their contribution and their place in our communities. And we want to pay attention to that. We want to develop learning products that enable and support all of us gaining a better understanding as to what the Dakhon Nation will look like. With the energy of a canoe race as our motivation, Gook. Next project steps could include a spring beaver hunt and camp with a focus on the elders and youth. We have heard that that's an event that speaks to people culturally and was something that happened historically and doesn't happen anymore. And some of the people on the advisory committees have fond memories of those times spent with our other inland Tlingit neighbors. We want to host other community and nation-focused activities that support collective learning and sharing about the Dakhon Nation. So all those stories that we heard, people want to have recognized and honored, all of those pieces of knowledge and tidbits of history, that stuff's really important. And we want to find a way to collect all of that and share what all of you already know. We need to develop the required products and initiatives to formalize the Dakhon Nation as one with guidance from the citizenry. So when we talk about products, that can be anything from logos, materials, websites, videos. There's lots of opportunities for us to develop things that can go straight back to the citizens to show what we're doing here. And of course, citizen guidance requested as to engagement. How do you want to be engaged? How do you see that going? How often? The project guides and supports. The intro at the beginning, we acknowledge the steering committee members, Dave Keenan, Mark Wedge, and myself. And our role includes bi-weekly steering committee project-related meetings. So we'll meet twice a month minimum. I definitely foresee that schedule increasing as time goes on. And what we will do at those meetings is the preparation and the development and execution of the community engagement sessions. So we basically make sure that we are involved heavily in all of the detailed planning and the requirements for hosting things like this, to make sure that any of the meetings that we have to go back to the community, that we're playing the role and executing those specific details as well as we can. Our job is to inform the leadership and citizenry. So as the lead negotiators and the steering committee members, our direct link is to leadership and also to the citizens. So we have that bottom-up and top-down approach at the same time to make sure we're capturing as many elements as we can. We also lead the project communication with the advisory committee. So as a steering committee, we're the first point of contact, and we delegate out and share out information through the advisory committee as well. And one of the most important jobs is to update the community on an ongoing basis as to project intent, the progress, and the when, where, and how community members are able to participate. The advisory committee has a very similar role. The advisory committee serves an essential purpose on the project. They support the steering committee, and they do that by attending steering committee and AC meetings. So that means that they would attend on at least a monthly basis to maintain an ongoing awareness and understanding regarding the project progress. So they need to know what's happening so they can tell you, the citizens. They will also be updating the community in the same manner as the steering committee as described in the last slide. We wouldn't be able to get anywhere and continue with the work that we're doing if we didn't have a project coordinator. Our project coordinator is Lynn Gagnon. She is at the back there, and the project coordinator is an essential role. There are so many details to remember and to be including. And Lynn Gagnon, as the Nation Rebuilding Project Coordinator, is the direct link to Gunta, the project engagement team. So that really helps move a lot of the work off of the steering committee. And that's part of the reason why we weren't able in the 2 years previous to this to move as quickly as we would have liked. We did not benefit at that time from a project coordinator. We did not have an engagement team, and that resulted in us being under-resourced. So we have a team now. We have a fully staffed team, and I'm so grateful for the technical support and the coordination that we have that has led us to being able to do such a revolutionary event. This is my first time in an event like this, and it's working really well from my experience so far. We wanted to make sure that we reviewed today's objectives. So we set out in this to share some of the current themes of focus for the project based upon the short work to date, and which we will build upon with your guidance. We wanted to share with you the purpose of the project. We wanted to share with you what has been learned to date through reading decades of work that we can now build upon together. We also wanted to secure from you, the citizens, how you would like to be involved as you guide the project going forward. Again, we can't move forward without the guidance of our communities. With the energy of a canoe race as our motivation, go. There is a quote at the bottom from Lucy Wren from an elders gathering in 1998. Be strong for the sake of our children. You have a lot of children following you. It is up to us as parents to pass on the language like the way it was done a long time ago. In closing, one primary objective of today's session is to ask you, the nation's citizens, how you would like to guide the project process, including how you would like to participate, how often you would like to participate, how do you think we should communicate and inform about the project, and other things you would like us to consider. This picture is included here, and Elder Bess Cooley had this shirt from previous years. She was here this morning wearing this shirt and displaying it proudly. It speaks to the Tlingit Nation before the name of Dachka. It stands for Atlan, Carcross, and Teslin, and it aptly says, act, which really fits with the theme of our meeting today. Do it now. Act now. Dachka Nation.
Sheesh. Thank you very much for that, Chantelle.